Well, we can go for something more like
It's
this.
unnecessary. It has been.
What's that important?
Welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting for Monday, the 12th of May, 2025. Before we start, we have a public forum, and I'll start by giving the recording and streaming of meetings policy. This public forum is being audio recorded for administrative purposes. By speaking at the public forum, you agree to being recorded. Please ensure that if and when you are speaking at this public forum that you are respectful to other people and use appropriate language. Albury City accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of the public forum. I've not been made aware of any conflict of interest declarations. Mr. Zachnich?
None received, Mayor Mac.
Thank you. Okay, we have one speaker, and that is Phil Bark, and he's speaking to CM 13.1, Development Application 10.2024.406666.1, Commercial Development 484 Union Road, 302 Wagga Road and 308 Wagga Road, Lavington. He's speaking against the recommendation. Welcome.
Good evening. Through the chair, I thank the council for the opportunity to make a few remarks in support of our application. I have come here tonight to say that tonight is not the time to make a decision on this application because there are a few matters that needs to be assessed before the council can consider the matter at a later date. So a deferred determination is the one I would be arguing for because there were fundamental errors that are apparent in the assessment report because our planning review that we submitted in response to a council request for information was not given due consideration, and that is evident in the assessment report. And the assessment report tends to suggest that there are no employment benefits in the application, while there are benefits in the order of 5 to 6 full-time equivalent jobs that will be created in the OTR if this application is approved and running. And this fact is either misstated, obscured, or completely absent in the assessment report for your consideration. The assessment report shows a clear misunderstanding of how the OTR business operates. For example, it incorrectly describes the drive-through as a fast food type drive-through when it is a convenience retail drive-through with significantly less trip generation, queuing and vehicle movements for traffic impacts. In the same vein, the assessment report fails to take account of the synergy that exists between different components, like being fuel sales, grocery, car washing, which result in multipurpose trips, therefore a lower level of vehicle movements and lower level of parking demand than would result from a simple element of any of those development. The assessment report fails to engage with our planning review and also does not take into account the concurrence from the Transport for New South Wales because we overcame the hurdle in the April request for information, and also the lack of support from Transport for New South Wales. But we have since overcome that hurdle, but that doesn't seem to have been taken into consideration. And we think we made a case for this type of development in this single corner in a multi-junction area, and we think council should defer their decision and get more, give the staff more time to assess this material, and then it comes back to your consideration at a later date.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Ken.
Thank you for your presentation. You mentioned you've since overcome the hurdle with Transport for New South Wales. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because they seemed quite clear in the report with their concerns.
In April, not in the letter, not in the December. Actually, yeah, not at the response to our further information, which we provided on 19 December, and which they provided earlier this year. That wasn't the same as it was in April. They concurred, eventually they concurred with our proposal.
A follow-up, if I may.
Yep.
Can you explain how they concurred with your proposal, just for my benefit, please?
In writing, they said that they concurred with the proposal. They said that in writing to the council.
Thank you.
Okay, appears to be no further questions. Thank you for your presentation, and we'll consider it in our deliberation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Righto, thank you, councillors. We'll now start the council meeting for this evening, and as I said, it's the council meeting for the Monday, the 12th of May, 2025. Opening affirmation and acknowledgement to country. Thanks. We gather to represent the people of Albury who have entrusted us with this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, wisdom and common sense. May our personal values give us honesty and courage to serve our community effectively and with respect for all. Acknowledgement of country. We would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people as the traditional custodians of the land that we meet upon today, and pay our respects to the elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, culture, tradition and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that contribute to our community. Thank you. TM2, recording and webcasting a meeting. The council meeting is being webcast and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to being recorded and webcast. Please ensure that if and when you are speaking at this council meeting that you are respectful to other people and use appropriate language. Albury City accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this council meeting. An audio recording will be made for administrative purposes. Okay, conflict of interest declarations received by the chair. I've received none. Mr. Zachnich.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. No other conflicts received. Disclosure of political donations and requirements of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. The Act under Section 10.4 requires a person submitting a planning application or submission regarding a planning application to disclose any reportable political donation and or gifts to any local councillor or employee of the council. Reportable political donations include those of or above $1,000. In dealing with development applications, councillors need to take into account specific planning matters contained in the Act. Accordingly, the provisions of 4.151 of that Act are set out in the Council Officer's report detailing planning issues to be considered. The Local Government Act 1993, Section 375A requires that a division be called whenever a motion for a planning decision is put at a meeting of the Council. Planning decision means a decision made in the exercise of a function of Council under the Act, including a decision relating to a development application, an environmental planning instrument, a development control plan or a development contribution plan under that Act, but not including the making of an order under Division 9.3 of Part 9 of that Act. Thank you, Mayor Mac.
Thank you, Mr. Zaknich. Apologies, we're all here and accounted for. CM 4.2, attendance by councillors at meeting by audio visual link. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you. I'd like to move the recommendation that council receive and note and accept the attendance of councillor Gluckin and councillor Cameron via audio visual link for the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Bullivant.
Happy to second that, Mayor Mac.
Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? All cleared, all carried. Thank you. Merrill minute, there isn't one. Action plans. Thanks, councillors. Councillor King.
Just wait for the item to come up on the screen. I move that the following action plans be received and noted. 1, actions complete for noting only. 2, actions awaiting response from external parties. 3, actions in progress. And 4, long-term issues more than 3 months.
Callaghan.
Happy to second.
Thank you. Councillor King, do you wish to speak to that at all?
Nothing from me, no thanks.
Appears to be no question or debate. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Confirmation minutes of previous meeting held on Monday, the 28th of April, 2025 at 6:07 p.m. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Bukowski.
I move the recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on Monday, 28th April 2025 at 6:07 p.m. be confirmed.
Thank you. Councillor Hudson.
Happy to second that, Mayor Mac.
Thank you. Councillor Bukowski, did you wish to open debate?
No, thank you.
There appears to be no question or debate. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. We have no reports from community forums, no notices of motion, no presentations or deputations. Reports of working committees. We have CM 11.1 minutes, the Albury Aquatics Advisory Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 2nd of April. Thank you, Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I move that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Albury Aquatics Advisory Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 2nd of April, 2025.
Thank you. Councillor Bullivant.
Happy to second that, Mayor Mac.
Councillor Hudson, I have a question before you open debate. Are you happy to take it?
Certainly.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you. Just through you to the most relevant member of staff. I note the minutes referenced a funding strategy that might be included in a report. It did say the 12th of May council meeting, but I'm imagining that that's coming up at some stage soon. Could I have some clarity over that, please?
Mr. Glass.
Thank you for your question, Councillor King, and through you, Mayor Mac, that is correct. It's it will come to council at the 26th of May council meeting.
Thank you. Councillor King, happy with that?
Happy with that. Another question, if I
Yep.
may, please. I noted that there were concerns raised about the Have Your Say process. It sounds like there was some discussion and some actions. Could you elaborate on that discussion a little bit more and how those concerns will be addressed?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor King, and through you, Mayor Mac. It was discussed in the meeting how the information relating to those that didn't support the progression of investment at Lavington Swim Centre, how that information would be conveyed in that council report that I mentioned earlier on the 26th of May. And we will provide a full list of all the submissions that were made and firstly, whether they voted yes or no. And if they did vote yes, then which was their preferred concept. And then separate to that, for those that chose not to support the progression of the Lavington Swim Centre, only those that and then those that do support the progression of Lavington Swim Centre separately, which concepts what their preferred concept was. So you had the choice of either answering yes or no, do you support, and then we'll provide a breakdown for those that answered yes, how they voted, and then those that answered no, how they voted.
Just a follow-up, if I may.
Yep.
Is it possible that some may support the redevelopment of Lavington, but not perhaps the 4 options as listed? Is that perhaps something that was going to be captured in that process? Not necessarily against it, but maybe not supportive of any of those 4 options?
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mayor Mack, there was opportunity for those to make comment as to what they thought of the designs, and we've tried to capture, and we will capture those comments and present them verbatim to the councillors for their consideration.
Thank you.
Councillor Glacken, you have a question?
Thank you. Through you to the most relevant member of staff, I noted in the minutes that there was a letter appended as an annex, and it was from Aligned Leisure. It goes on to say that any information provided by Mr. Morris Eames has been vetted. Can the staff confirm whether or not that includes Facebook posts, and in particular Facebook posts made by Mr. Eames with reference to the Lavington swimming pool and what was described by some as a shopping list that was put forward by Mr. Eames in support of the Lavington pool? Can staff confirm whether or not that he's also part of the information they have vetted? Thank you.
Mr. Glass.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Glacken, and through you, Mayor Mack, I will go back and have to take that question on notice as to whether those Facebook posts were vetted or not. I can't answer that at the moment.
Thank
I
you.
understand, and thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Hudson, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Mayor Mack.
Okay, questions, no debate, happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against the motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, no documents for sealing. We're up to CM 13, Officers' Reports for Consideration, 13.1, Development Application 10.2024.4066.1, Commercial Development Service Station Car Wash Car Park Signage and Demolition of Existing Structures, 484 Union Road, 302 Wagga Road and 308 Wagga Road, Lavington. Thank you, Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. I would like to move that Council A receives and notes the contents of this report, and B refuses development application 10.2024.4066.1 for a commercial development comprising of an OTR branded service station with associated canopy, drive-through car wash facility, drive-through takeaway food and drink / convenience store, 70,000 litre underground fuel storage tank, signage, fencing, car parking and landscaping on Lot 5 in DP 715020, Lot A in DP 402491 and Lot 3 in DP 635276, currently addressed as 484 Union Road, 302 Wagga Road and 308 Wagga Road, Lavington, for the following reasons. I, the application does not achieve the aim of the Albury Local Environment Plan 2010 1.2 (2) A to give effect to the desired outcomes, principles and actions contained in the Council's adopted strategies and policy documents, as the development will result in significant negative impacts to the existing Lavington CBD urban form, traffic outcomes and safety, as was demonstrated throughout the assessment against the Albury Development Control Plan, Lavington CBD Master Plan 2009 and Council Engineering Guidelines, and is therefore contrary to the provisions of Section 4.151A(1) of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. 2. The application does not comply with the objectives for the E2 Commercial Centre Zone for Albury Local Environment Plan 2010, as the development in its current form fails to strengthen the role of the commercial centre, encourage development with a high level of accessibility and amenity, provide active frontages, contribute to vibrant, diverse and functional streets, and increase the housing availability and permanent population with shop-top housing or mixed-use development, and is therefore contrary to the provisions of Section 4.151A(i) of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. 3. The development is not consistent with the controls of the Albury DCP 2010, particularly in relation to preferred development types within the Lavington Retail Core Precinct, urban design and CBD character guidelines, nor does the development achieve appropriate vehicle and pedestrian access and movement to, from and on the site. Therefore, the development is contrary to the provisions of Section 4.151A(3) of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. 4, the application does not adequately demonstrate that the development will not negatively impact on the locality, particularly regarding its anticipated adverse effects on the established built environment and traffic outcomes, and is therefore contrary to the provisions of Section 4.151B of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. 5, the application did not actively demonstrate the site to be suitable for the proposed development owing to the site position, proposed access and parking, traffic impacts, and road and community safety impact, and is therefore contrary to provision of Section 4.151C of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. And 6, the application is contrary to the provisions of Section 4.151D of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979, as it does not adequately demonstrate that the development will have no negative impacts, including both to the amenity of the community and safety of road users in the locality.
Okay, seconder, thanks. Councillor Baker.
Happy to second that, Mac.
Thank you. Councillor Hudson, do we wish to open debate on that item? Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Mac. I'm speaking in support of this staff recommendation to review the development application at the Five Ways in Lavington. I think this is an excellent example of a situation where just because the type of development may be permissible under a given zoning, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be suitable or meets the expectations of the community. This site is not a random lot in Lavington. It's a designated landmark location under the CBD master plan. It's right at the gateway to the Lavington CBD. Our planning documents developed with community input clearly demonstrate, will clearly prioritise mixed-use pedestrian-friendly development that enlivens that area of town. It's meant to be a place for people, not just for petrol. And what's being proposed here does the opposite, in my view. It's a drive-through, car-dominated layout. There's no active street frontage and no real connection to the urban form that I think the community wants us to build in that area. I think the other really significant concern is the traffic impact. The Five Ways is already one of the most complex and congested intersections in our city. Council's transport team, alongside Transport for New South Wales, have made it abundantly clear, I think, that the development will have a really negative impact on that intersection. It could worsen congestion, reduce safety, and introduce new risks into the location as well. And I think we need to be clear, this hasn't been a rushed decision. The proponent has been given numerous opportunities to revise their plans in response to concerns from the community, from the public consultation, and also from council staff and other agencies as well. And it appears to me that they haven't actually made any meaningful changes to the design of the development. The traffic circulation problems remain, the urban design issues remain. I think that this proposal is just fundamentally unfit for the area. And speaking to the community submissions, there's significant concerns from the community about this development. Residents, local businesses, other tenants in the area, they expect better developments in that area, ones that are meet the context of the location. So I think that approving this development would undermine the confidence of the community in that regard. So ultimately, I think it's incumbent on us to make development decisions that meet the needs of the community. And I think it's clear and based specifically on the technical reasons expressed by the staff in the report that this development is not responsive to the needs of the community. And so I'd like to commend the staff for an incredibly thorough and detailed assessment of the application. They've reviewed it against every applicable planning instrument, and they've listened to the community and they've listened to Transport for New South Wales. So I think it's a very clear and well-supported conclusion that we should reject this development. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. I have questions. Councillor Bullivant and Councillor Glacken and Councillor King. And a speaker against.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Through you to the relevant member of staff, I'm just looking at the traffic movements in that particular precinct. It's between 10 and 16,000 a day. Is that overall, is that per leg? And have we got an idea of what the heavy vehicle movements would be in that area? Because it's one of the three biggest intersections in Albury, and I probably think at most times the day, it'd be probably the busiest intersection of Albury. So can we get a bit more clarification around the legs, each leg, Union Road, Wagga Road, Urana Road, please?
Sure.
Ms. Oliver.
Through you, Mayor Mac. So there's approximately 10 to 15,000 vehicle movements per leg entering and exiting the Five Ways intersection. Heavy vehicle figures, I don't know exactly off the top of my head. However, it is above average given that there be double routes through this intersection as well.
Thank you. Follow up. You happy with
No,
that?
thank you.
Councillor King.
Thank you. Through you to the most relevant member of staff, we heard our speaker in the public forum mention that that they have overcome the hurdle with Transport for New South Wales. Is what's your understanding of that? Have we got any knowledge that they had a different perspective other than what has outlined in the report?
Mr. Christian.
Thank you for the question, and for you, Mayor Mac. So yes, the original referral from Transport New South Wales did object subject to request of further information be provided. Some information was provided. Transport for New South Wales, and I'll just read from their letter. They reviewed the information. They entrust all council to assess and manage the traffic implications of the development application. Provided that council is satisfied the issue is concurrent under section 138. So our interpretation of that is that should council believe that the traffic issues have been suitably satisfied, then they are happy to support the application, but they weren't supporting the application without that caveat of council being satisfied around the impacts of the traffic that's for the development proposed.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin, question before I take a speaker against. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor King asked the question I was going to ask. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron, you're after a speaker against.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I hope you can hear me all right.
All clear.
Very good. I'm speaking against the motion because not that I'm in favour of this development. I think its location is very problematic and I'm unlikely to ultimately support it. However, I want to ensure, and we should all seek to ensure, that the applicants have been shown every fairness and every procedural correct opportunity to clear up any misunderstandings or any misreporting of their application's details. I think there is just enough being said by the gentleman tonight and in other correspondence I've seen to give me some reservations about this matter. Accordingly, I'd like to move a amendment to the effect that this development application be dealt with at a later council meeting.
Okay, so the amendment is that the council defer and hold it at another and list it for another council meeting. Is that what you're comfortable with?
That is correct, Mayor Mac.
Thank you. We'll just wait to put it up on the screen. So Councillor Cameron, we've got the recommendation that council defers the matter and considers the matter at a future date. Is that satisfactory for your amendment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Mac.
Thank you. Well, I'm looking for a seconder for that amendment, councillors. Councillor Bukowski.
Ready to second that motion,
Thank
amendment
you.
to the motion. Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we've got the amendment. Councillor Cameron, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mayor Mac.
Okay. Any other speakers or speakers for or against? Question from Councillor Clacken. Thank you.
I have two questions through you to the most relevant member or members of staff, if I may, please.
Yep.
The first is with reference to this amended motion from Councillor Cameron. What would be the opportunity for the applicant had the original staff recommendation been approved tonight, notwithstanding the fact that it may still come to that? What would be the opportunities available to the applicant should tonight we determine not to approve this application? And then I have a subsequent question.
Mr. Christie.
Thank you for the question and for you, Mayor Mac. So if council had determined to refuse the application, then the applicant can either appeal to the Land Environment Court, or alternatively they can come back to council under Division 8 of the Act and request a review of determination by council.
Second question.
Thank you. Yes, my second question is what, so much of the report describes that this development application is unsuitable for the proposed site. What would make a better site? So if this site is unsuitable, what would make a better site? Thank you.
Mr. Christie.
Thank you for the question and for you, Mayor Mac, and a little bit of a difficult question to answer, because obviously we need to look at the application that's before us in the context of an application, and the scale of an application is very important in considering. But in summary, obviously our significant concerns to this application as submitted, one, relate to the scale of development, consideration to the layout of the traffic, how it enters the site, how it interacts with the local street network. It also relates to internal movements within the site, potential for confusion and conflict as internal movements through the site. And then in regards to the urban design and built form outcome, it's around getting some of those key elements that are in the CBD master plan around interactivity and active frontages to the site, none of which have been able to be demonstrated through the application before us and have been expressed by council in our numerous further information requests since this application was received, and from our end had not been suitably addressed by the applicant.
Thank you. Come for that, Councillor Blacken. Yep. Another question, Councillor Hudson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Through you to the most relevant member of staff. In reading the report, it appeared that there had been at least two opportunities for the proponent to respond to council's concerns and from the public submissions as well. You mentioned also, Mr. Christie, that there'd been numerous additional requests for information from the proponent. Given the issues raised by the speaker at the forum this evening, has the proponent not had further opportunity since those at least two opportunities to provide additional information, or would they have had opportunities in the time to provide that information already?
Mr. Christie.
Yep, thank you for the question and for you, Mayor Mac. So there were at least those two formal opportunities, which you indicated. Council issued a further information request in the end of May, in late May 2024, which detailed a number of concerns, which was responded to by the applicant in August. A copy of that response is in attachment 4 to the current development application before council. Council considered that information, provided a further information request saying that we weren't satisfied with the addressing of those issues, and that went out in October 2024. Some further information was provided in December in response to that, and that's been considered by staff in considering the assessment report in finalising our assessment of the application and the assessment report that's for you tonight. Also, obviously, in the lead up to this application coming before council, we did advise the applicant that it was coming to council and gave them a last opportunity to provide any amended details or the like that they wish to provide before it came before council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question, councillor Baker. No speakers for or against. I have a speaker against up there. Question?
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Question through you to the most relevant member of staff. What was the date on the letter from the RMS relating to?
Mr. Christie.
Thanks for the questioning for you, Mayor Mac. The latest letter was the 3rd of March 2025. It's the one that I quoted from earlier in response to the questioning through Mayor Mac.
Thank you.
Councillor, speaker against, councillor Blacken, speaking against the amendment.
Yes, against the amendment and for the original motion, the staff recommendation.
Thank you.
It's my understanding that from the answer provided by the staff is that should council actually refuse this application, which I believe we should, then the applicant can request reconsideration of our decision by us as council. It gives them a wonderful opportunity should they believe that they have grounds for us to consider the application otherwise. My understanding is that the letter, as referred to by Councillor Cameron, having been sent to all councillors recently, last couple of days, with reference to this application, that letter advised that a specific number or a specific report had not been considered by council staff. In contrast, it's my understanding that that report had been considered by our staff and that in fact it is part of the report that we have read tonight and one of the attachments. My understanding is that the staff have taken all of the necessary information into consideration and have come up with a recommendation to us based on all of that information. I speak against deferring this because I believe we should make a determination based on all the information we have at the time. And I believe that the information we have is more than adequate or sufficient for us to be able to make this determination that we would refuse this application, because I do not believe that this development is appropriate for this particular site. It's for a number of reasons. One is that it doesn't meet our requirements for the Albury Local Environmental Plan for 2010, and it doesn't meet it on a number of grounds, including that it doesn't increase cultural activity. It doesn't support the central business area. It doesn't enhance the amenity or accessibility for pedestrians. It doesn't increase the diversity or active street frontages for that development in that location. And it's particularly unfriendly towards pedestrians, and it doesn't increase vibrancy. This is a part of the Lavington, North Albury CBD area, and it is in fact a gateway precinct. It is the most significant set of corner blocks in Lavington and North Albury. So I do not believe that a petrol station is appropriate for that area. I speak against the alternative recommendation put forward, motion put forward by Councillor Cameron, that we defer it because I think we have more than sufficient grounds to make a decision tonight. This DA is not suitable for a number of reasons, and it's not just limited to the local environmental plan or the development control plan. It's not limited to also only the Lavington CBD master plan. It's also because this DA for the petrol station is not a significant opportunity for our community in this area to have a gateway significant development. at the Five Ways. I am not suggesting that we don't allow this petrol station because it's a petrol station, or this development because it's a development for a petrol station. We all need petrol stations. I use petrol stations. Our community uses petrol stations. It's not the fact that it's a petrol station. The fact is that development doesn't meet numerous areas, in fact, most of the areas within the LEP, the DCP and the Lavington CBD master plans. I cannot support Councillor Cameron's motion that we defer this. We have sufficient information. We may need to be able to make that decision tonight as council. The applicant has opportunities should they not agree with that decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glickin. Speakers against, no speakers for. Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I do speak against Councillor Cameron's amended motion. While I commend him for his commitment to procedural fairness for the proponent, I think based on the answers we've heard from the staff that the proponent has had ample opportunity to provide additional information which supports the development. And so as a consequence, I don't think it's necessary to defer this decision.
Thank you. There appears to be no other speakers for or against. Councillor Cameron, did you wish to close debate on the amendment? Thanks.
No, I think it's very clear. Thank you, Mayor Mac.
Happy to put the amendment. Those in favour? Those against? The amendment has failed. We'll revert to the original motion. Councillor Hudson, do you wish to close debate on that, or a speaker for? Councillor Callaghan.
I'll be speaking for the original motion that we've reverted back to. It doesn't fit the plan for Lavington's future. I think we've heard tonight the proposal goes against Albury's strategic plans and the efforts to protect the CBD's layout and that traffic flow. And we heard this evening that it's one of our busiest intersections, and this will only exacerbate the issues that are already in that space. It doesn't meet our zoning goals. The site is zoned for vibrant, walkable interface with the community, with shop top housing, and this proposal doesn't support that. It doesn't offer walkability either. In fact, it makes it more challenging. The development has poor design and access, and the development doesn't flow through the city's urban rules, and it lacks good pedestrian and vehicle access from the building in and out and within the amenities that it was offering as well. It's expected to have a negative community impact, and given the feedback from our community, they don't want it. And that's certainly the emails that I've been receiving. There are several traffic and safety risks. And finally, there's a lack of community benefit. Experts found that it would negatively affect traffic, safety and amenity and how the area looks and functions. So I'm happy to support the refusal this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Other speakers for or against? Councillor Hudson, do you wish to close debate?
No, thank you, Mayor Mac.
Happy to put the motion by form of division. All those in favour? Councillor Baker, Councillor Bullivant, Councillor Bukowski, Councillor Mac, Councillor Callaghan, Councillor Hudson, Councillor King, Councillor Cameron and Councillor Glickin. The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay, we have 13.2, the draft Thurgoona Willinga Precinct Structure Plan, public exhibition. Thank you, Councillor Bullivant.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. A recommendation to Council A endorses the draft revised Thurgoona Willinga Precinct Structure Plan for public exhibition purposes over a minimum period of 6 weeks, and B, receives a further report on the outcomes of the public exhibition process.
Thank you, Councillor Bukowski.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor Mac.
Thank you, Councillor Bullivant. Do you wish to speak to that?
Thank you, Mayor Mac. One of the biggest growing areas in our city, the Thurgoona Willinga Precinct. This gives us a plan of where we need to go and what we need to get done for our community's benefit. It's a good plan. And once again, I commend the staff, as we always do, because the staff work their fingers to the bone getting all these action plans in order. So this gives us a way forward and a step for our community to get what we need to get done out there. So well done, guys.
Thank you, Councillor Bullivant. I've spoken for Councillor Glickin.
Thank you. Yes, to speak for this motion for it to go to public consultation. A few weeks ago, Councillor Hudson asked questions about the Thurgoona Willinga Precinct Structure Plan and how the precinct had developed over the last 10, 15 years, in contrast to what the plan has been to date. And fortunately, part of the process created by the staff has been that it's been reviewed. So, Councillor Hudson, the review is available for us now, which is fantastic. I'm conscious that this plan needs to be viewed by the community alongside so many other components of plans, because it's part of the Riverina-Murray Regional Plan that leads out into 2041. It's part of the Albury Community Plan, our own plan that leads out to now 2050. It used to be the 2030 plan, now the 2050 plan. And it importantly is in view or in light of the review already done by the external consultants, which is great. But the plan does need to be looked at by our community with its interrelationships with so many other plans and so many other master planning components, a lot of which is going out to community consultation at the moment or in the very near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Glacken. There are no speakers against. I'll take another speaker for Councillor Callaghan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I'm happy to support the Thurgoona-Willinga Precinct Structure Plan on 5 real main reasons, and that is being touched on briefly by Councillor Bullivant, that we're planning for growth. We want to make sure that there's enough housing and schools and parks and roads and our infrastructure to support everyone in that growth. The collaborations of services and co-location where possible was something that I really enjoyed seeing. It encourages placing schools, shops and parks and community services close together. The other one is the village and neighbourhood centres, and I had the absolute pleasure of visiting the Thurgoona Community Centre, and they do such a wonderful job. But as that space continues to grow, they're going to need more of that in that area, and it was such a vibrant and rich space. So I hope the new ones that come along eventually bring that rich neighbourhood together. But it's also a place where people can meet, which is lovely, and it's good to see several of those in there. Another reason is protecting nature. So it's a balance that's really difficult to sometimes get right. But I think where we've got development, we need to be looking after and considerate about wildlife, waterways and green spaces. And I think the plan has really tried to achieve that. I'm sure we'll hear from the community out there what their expectations are around that. But I think the plan thus far has really tried to achieve that. And finally, community input. There's been a lot of consultation that's already gone into where we've reached today. And I had a privilege of being out at the Thurgoona Club, went for 3 hours, and there was lots of people coming through the door. And I know there was many pop-ups and many opportunities. So I suppose this is an opportunity for people to see it in its full form and to give feedback. And yeah, I expect we get it right when we hear from our community. So looking forward to seeing the draft evolve as we hear from the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Still no speakers against. I have another speaker for Councillor King. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Just to note that the review really has refined the structure plan layout, revised locations for some of those urban centres, schools, open spaces, and that urban-rural interface. So wonderful input from the community, 2 phases of really extensive community engagement and pop-ups, as other councillors has referenced. And I also want to note that this particular plan, the structure plan as it's proposed, gives greater focus on implementation, because I think that's something that we've also heard loud and clear as well. Yeah, and again, noting that this has a longer period of time for consultation and feedback in terms of the public exhibition, so a minimum of 6 weeks. So a great opportunity for revised feedback to see if we've heard what you've said and whether you're happy with where the draft is taking us. So congratulations to the staff and the community members who've contributed so far.
Thank you, Councillor King. Still no speakers against. Councillor Hudson speaking for.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I do speak for putting this out on public exhibition. I don't want to really rehash anything that my fellow councillors have already said, because they've said it very well, but I did want to acknowledge that this is a truly significant amount of work from the staff, because it's not just the plan, but as Councillor Glacken alluded to, there's a lot of other documents and strategies and planning that's gone along side this plan. We should really thank and acknowledge that amount of work from the staff. I think this plan represents really a very significant update on the 2013 plan. And I think one thing that it does very well is it helps manage and set expectations for what's expected, but also when it's expected. Because we have this staging plan now as well, and it'll give the community clarity on when areas of the growth corridor can expected to be developed, and therefore the infrastructure and everything else that goes along with that. So putting this out for public exhibition is not the final step. It's just the next opportunity for the community to have their say, and they should really consider it alongside those other things that were spoken about: the budget, the infrastructure contributions plan, the MOVE integrated transport strategy. So, I think we owe it to the people who live and work and enjoy nature in Thurgoona to get this right. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what the community has to say about it.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. Still no speakers for or against, no more questions. I'm happy to chime into this one and speak for this particular plan. Having been here in 2013 when we went through this process, and Thurgoona was a lot smaller than what it is today. It was an arduous process, and again, the staff of the day did perform admirably and provide us with an indicative plan that has guided us to this point. I think the revised plan does provide a lot more information and detail, and value adds the 1.8% growth in population that we're experiencing in that precinct. And certainly there have been significant developments in terms of what's on offering, and I think we are doing what we need to do as a council to think about the future for not just Thurgoona Willinga, but also the rest of our city. And this is part of that process. And I think it sends a message to our developers that we're serious about what we want for that community, and the community now need to provide us with the relevant feedback about what they want and what they want to see. I do note that there is a lot of provision for green space and parks and gardens and football grounds and soccer fields and all that sort of stuff. The only thing that probably worries me a bit is that we haven't purchased those corridors for development ourselves. And it's something, again, that's in this year's budget and probably needs to be considered, given the indicative prices and increase of prices in the Thurgoona Willinga corridor, and we don't want to be a victim of our own success. Further adding to that, I see that there's a lot of growth for schools, and certainly the recent announcement by the Education Department in relation to the school in Kerr Road, whilst it's heartening, I find it a little bit difficult to chew on, because I think 2 hectares for a site which will house 1,000 students does not fit within the corridor of Thurgoona Willinga. I really feel it is not conceived to provide a healthy, well-being outcome for our young people. And certainly 1,000 kids on a 2 hectare site with a soccer ground and a half-court basketball court or whatever they're proposed is ludicrous. And I know we've put submissions in, and I know we are opposed to things such as the transport and road configuration. But I think the community of Thurgoona and Willinga need to think, well, where are we going to send our kids of the future? And it's not to a multi-story development on 2 hectares. It's not a prison. It's a school to develop our future kids. And I think, again, it just opens the doors for other schools, and I'm talking about private schools, to take advantage. And I think every child deserves a great space to learn in, and I don't think this is that space. So I would encourage our community to speak on that particular issue, and I would encourage our local member to reconsider this particular offering, because I don't think it's adequate. I think yet again Albury is being ripped off, and just to say I've got a school out in Thurgoona is not adequate. Make it decent and make it worthy of 1,000 students, and make that allowance. So apart from that, fantastic plan. I really do reiterate what Councillor Hudson said, and the other councillors. A wonderful effort by the staff to pull this together, because I know with the DAs and everything else you do, it's a big job to do, and you're doing a wonderful job as best you can with the given resources. So thanks again, and I'll get Councillor Bullivant to close debate. Thanks, Councillor Bullivant.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Just reiterating what all the fellow councillors have said tonight. It's a really good plan, and I'm hoping that our community takes it on, gives us the feedback we require to make the things we need to get done. It's dependent upon our community. They're the ones that guide us, and we take action on their guidance. So hopefully we'll get some good feedback back.
Thank you. Happy to put that motion by division. Those in favour, Councillor Baker, Councillor Baldwin, Councillor Bukowski, Councillor Mack, Councillor Keller, Councillor Callaghan, Councillor Hudson, Councillor King, Councillor Cameron and Councillor Glacken. All clear. Motion is carried. Thank you. 13.3, the sewer trunk main construction Kerr Road contract 24/02894. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Happy to move the recommendation as a motion that council, pursuant to section 1781A of the Local Government General Regulation 2021 New South Wales, resolves to accept the alternative tender from ATD Civil Group Proprietary Limited and award the contract for 24/02894 construction of Kerr Road sewer trunk main for the tendered lump sum price of $2,085,716 inclusive of GST. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second. Thank you.
Councillor Glacken, did you wish to open debate?
Yes, not too distant from our last topic, the Thurgoona Willinga precinct plan. This is a vital piece of infrastructure that we need to ensure that we will have sewer provision well into the future out in those new areas. It's great to see the number of people or the number of companies who are tendering for this work, and very happy to be moving the recommendation for the company, the successful tenderer. And I note that it was an alternative tender from that company. So a variation on what was originally called for. They've been able to justify why they've provided the original tender, the conforming one, but they've also provided this alternative. They're able to justify why that it would be better for Albury to do this, and it's much more cost effective as well. So very happy to be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glacken. 2 questions. Councillor Hudson, first question.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. I have a number of questions through you to the most relevant member of staff. If council resolves to approve this motion tonight, when would construction commence or be likely to commence?
Mr. Willis.
Thank you for the question. Construction is due to commence within 30 days of award.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question.
Yep.
Does council provide any advice to property developers regarding commencement of works during Sloane's froglet breeding season?
Mr. Willis.
Thanks once again for the question through you, Mayor Mack. Council does work with developers around identifying suitable construction times. In this particular instance, the work has been subject to intensive environmental review concerning when construction could and couldn't occur. And through our internal review of environmental factors process has determined that a number of mitigation measures could be put into place, which will reduce any environmental impact. So construction works could commence once awarded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Callaghan, and a question from Councillor Glacken.
Thank you to the most relevant staff member. Happy to support this motion this evening. I just had a question in regards to the way in which we have gone out to tender, and just hoping you can elaborate on the alternative submission. And I think it's a great option. It's just haven't seen that come to us before.
Mr. Willis.
Yes, once again, thank you for the question through you, Mayor Mack. Essentially, when we go out to tender, we have a specification which all tenderers are obliged to conform to. However, in some instances around construction methodology, costs, there might be optimisation way things need to be delivered and done.
So long as the tenderer has provided a conforming tender,
Mhm.
they're obliged to also submit an alternate tender, which advocates for their innovation. And that's occurred in this case.
It's a fantastic way to do business. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, question.
Yes, thank you very much. My question is with reference to the method to be used by if we agree, the successful tenderer, and that's with reference to the primarily installed via pipe jacking, a trenchless construction method. Can that be better explained, please? My understanding is pipe jacking is similar to pipe cracking, so I'm not sure whether or not how you determine the diameter of the pipe jacking if you're trying to dig a trenchless trench to put the infrastructure in, which has to be of a significant size. Thank you.
Mr. Willis.
Mr. Willis, could you clarify between pipe cracking and pipe jacking, please?
Thank you very much for the question. Through you, Mayor Mack, there is a distinct difference between pipe cracking and pipe jacking. Essentially, pipe cracking is all about removal of existing infrastructure and replacing with new pipe. In this instance, it's essentially an underboring methodology, which basically means you have a number of launch pits and you basically drill from one launch pit to another launch pit. Pipe jacking just means the methodology or the construction technique to achieve that.
Thank you. So confirming it is tunnelling.
It's a tunnelling generally refers to larger diameter pipes. In this case, it's a smaller diameter pipe, but you are correct. It's essentially like a tunnel.
Thank you very much.
Minimised excavation, Councillor Glacken from the CEO. Thank you. Councillor Hudson, you have another question.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. Through you to the most relevant member of staff. I note in the ref it mentions compensatory planting and says that those plans will be finalised prior to works commencing. Have those plans been finalised?
Mr. Willis.
Short answer to that question in response there, Councillor, is no, it hasn't, but it's part of the conditions under Construction Environmental Management Plan, which is to be assessed once submitted by the constructor to Albury City.
Okay.
Thank you. No further questions. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to close debate on your motion? No? Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay. We have no delegates report, officers reports for noting. We have no delegates reports for noting. Notice of urgent business. Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. I just wanted to draw my fellow councillors' attention to the fact that this coming Saturday, the 17th, is International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Interphobia and Transphobia, also known as Ida Hobbit Day. Ida Hobbit is a day of celebration for many people because to show how far society has come, but we have to acknowledge that it's also a day that for many members of the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly those living in regional and rural areas of our country like Albury, that it goes to show how far we still have to go. In October of last year, there was a disgusting rally by neo-Nazis, or attempted rally, in Corowa in October against multiculturalism. That was widely reported on and widely condemned. It may shock some people to know that that same group, in fact, protested against a queer film night screening during Pride Month in June of last year. And that wasn't as widely reported on and widely condemned. And I certainly don't want to second guess the decisions of police or others relating to that. But I do think that it's worth acknowledging that there are still very real threats and very real queerphobia in our community, so sadly. So this year's theme of Ida Hobbit is No One Left Behind: Equality, Freedom and Justice for All. And I think that invites us all to reflect on the actions that we can take and our own accountability as leaders in the community, particularly for our queer community. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. And while we're on that, just a reminder to the councillors that on the same day at 10 a.m. Wellfest is being held in the Botanical Gardens, which is supported by our youth council and certainly is probably timely that it is on the same day. Councillor Hudson and any councillors that can attend, I recommend that you do from 10 till 3. So thank you, councillors. So confidential matters, we have one. Councillors, thank you, Councillor King.
I'd like to move that we move into confidential
Yes,
to
and
discuss item CM 17.1, as this is a confidential item exclusive of press or public on the grounds that 2, the matters and information are the following. C, information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. D, commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it, and that is in relation to the Local Government Act 1993, number 30, section 10A, 2C, D, I.
thank you, Councillor Gleichen.
Happy to second.
Thank you. I must ask if there's any statements or submissions from the public regarding the reasons as identified for the confidential item CM 17.1. No submissions received. I'm happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. We'll just wait for the room to be vacated. We're clear. Okay. We've got the times. Yep, beautiful. Okay, now we've got the motion before us, councillors. Have a mover, please. Councillor Hudson.